Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. We are back in small groups. I am stoked. We have some new faces here. I don't know if you've seen them, maybe on our Instagram.
Yeah.
New team members. This is Manny George.
What it do, baby?
And Jessica DeBolt. So excited. All right, we have some announcements. I'm gonna start with Alpha. We're
Wow.
starting Alpha this Sunday.
Come on.
And we have 2 spots left. So if you wanna join, check out our Instagram bio. We have a link to Alpha. You can join, talk to your leader about that. We're really excited. Jessica, I think we have another one.
We also have a clothing drive. Super stoked about it. So what we're doing is asking you to collect clothing, to donate them, and invite people within your community just to donate and it'd be a party. And so we're asking people to come from Monday through Thursday from 8:30 to 2:30 p.m. And you can just drop off things between that time. And make sure to do this before October 8th because that will be our last day.
Come on. Hey, any piece of clothing counts. Even if you only got one t-shirt, man, bring that one t-shirt in, you know? To go off top of that, we're gonna have a sorting party where we're just all gonna come together. There's gonna be vibes, there's gonna be music, there's gonna be snacks. And we're just gonna sort everything out so that we could disperse it. And so, let's go on with the rest of the night. Glad to meet you guys and let's vibe.
Welcome to small groups, midweek small groups. I am so happy we all get to be together, and I know it's not quite the same as being in one room all together, but at least we get to be in the building in our small groups. And don't worry, because we are working on getting us all back together in one space again. And I know small groups have been great, but there's truly nothing like all of us being together in one space, worshiping and listening to the message and playing games together. So we are planning and we are getting ready for that, and we will keep you guys in the loop for when all of that will be launched, hopefully in a couple of weeks. So tonight we are going to kick off our series on the comparison game. And I know a lot of you guys are on social media, and maybe some of you guys don't even have any social media, but whether or not you do or you don't, we all deal with comparison. And the truth is that even when you're out of high school, or even when you're out of college, or even when you're this or that, or you obtain this level of whatever, you will always still struggle with comparison until you get to the root of it. And this is something that is ongoing and something that we have to work through throughout our lives. And so tonight we're going to talk about why this matters and what truly can help us walk through this as we are comparing ourselves to everything. And so recently, I'm actually really passionate about this because it's been something I've noticed I've just kind of let creep into everything I'm doing, and everything I'm passionate about is then somehow undercut with this comparison of maybe this vacation that this family went on was cooler than mine. And I know vacations are weird right now. You're only going to Bend or to the beach, but maybe the same exact vacation looked so much better on someone else's Instagram, or when someone else was telling a story about it. Or maybe if you're anything like me, you enjoy hosting parties, and the way they did decor or whatever looked so much better. And then you think, at least I think, mine was pointless. Why did I even put it together? Or maybe for you it's something else. Maybe for you it's comparing about a sport you play, or a musical instrument that you play, or something that you're really passionate about. But when comparison creeps in, it takes away all of the passion and the joy out of what we do. And I can't count the number of times that either I've been scrolling on Instagram, or I have actually just maybe been talking to someone, and instantly I think, he got the newest this, or her life is so much better because of this, or you name it, you fill in the blank of what you usually compare with. But you can go from feeling so good and feeling so excited and so joyful to 10 seconds later feeling so down or upset or just maybe sad about comparison in your life. And this is something that we will work through for a lot of our life. And I know it's not fair, and it's sometimes can be really frustrating, but tonight I hope to leave you guys with some tools that are really helpful. Also, throughout the night, I'm going to have you guys pause the video and have discussion together with your group. And so if I say that, then go ahead and just pause me and then go ahead and talk with the questions that your leader has in your group. So And you guys already know this. You guys already know about comparison. You already maybe have heard about the new Social Dilemma Netflix documentary that came out, or your parents made you watch it, or whatever. But we look at what people put online or what people talk about and match it up with what we know is true about our current situation and what we're dealing with at the moment. And we think their life looks better, they look better, and we recognize a familiar reality. Their life is better than our life. And the truth is that we feel less than because of what we're looking at. And we typically respond in 3 ways, which was really helpful for me to read through. We overachieve. Maybe seeing someone's post or seeing something that someone's good at, it makes you think, okay, I have to strive better at what I'm doing. I have to work harder. I have to be better at what I'm doing. And the second thing we do is we do nothing. We look and see at other people's posts and other people's lives, and we think, I can't compare to that. I can't do anything even related to them, and so we give up. We think, what's the point of even trying to accomplish that or trying to do better? And the third thing we often react in is we play it over and over in our minds. We think about the things we're witnessing, and we think about the cool things that people are accomplishing, and we just continue to replay it over and over in our minds. And I even experienced this a couple nights ago when I was falling asleep and I was replaying everything that other people were accomplishing, and not in a way that was celebrating others, which we'll get to later in this series, but in a way that was just thinking, I could probably do better, or I'm not good enough because of what they've done. And no matter what our reaction is, the result is the same thing. We feel sad or upset or less than. And so I'm gonna ask you guys to pause your videos and take some time to discuss the questions that your leaders have about this. And that's what comparison does. Here's the tricky thing about comparing our life to someone else's. We know ourselves, and we know the depths of things that we struggle with, and the things that we're bad at, and the things that we're good at, and everything in between. And we don't put that usually either on Instagram, or we don't usually talk about it because it's uncomfortable. So we don't usually struggle with an argument or have tough conversations and then go put it out for everyone to see. But we perfect things and make it look nice on the outside. We get ready, we make ourselves look the best that we possibly can, or tell the stories that are the most captivating for people to listen to. And full well knowing the things that we struggled with, the lies that we're believing, the tough conversations we're having, the realistic things that are going on in our lives. But we rate ourselves based off of the perfection we're seeing in other people, the surface level things that they want to see, but not off of what they're actually struggling with. And then we compare it to what we're struggling with. We've all perfected the art of projecting the life we want others to think we have, even if it doesn't match the life that we actually have. And here's what's crazy. We forget that everyone else is doing the same thing. Everyone else is doing their best to put their best foot forward, or have the best this, that, or the other thing. And in another way we could say it, that I heard someone say, is we constantly are comparing our behind the scenes to others' highlights reels. And whether that's on social media, or whether that's just in conversation, or with what people really want you to see, the fact of the matter is that we don't see everything that's beneath the surface in other people like we do in our own lives. Comparison has become such a norm in our culture that we often don't even realize we're doing it. We often think about things and let things creep in, and then don't realize it's actually happening until maybe we talk about it, or maybe we realize how much it's actually affecting us. But the good news is that we're going to talk about for the next couple minutes, is that we will be able to recognize what is affecting us, and pause and say, how is this actually affecting us? And be able to pause and when we're feeling any sort of comparison, actually think about why this is affecting us. and what's going on. So one of the greatest teachers and followers of Jesus lived, a man named Paul. That was a tongue twister. And we're going to talk about some truths that he told. And maybe you're here tonight and you're like, I don't really know about this whole following Jesus thing. Don't worry, you're so welcome in this conversation. We would actually love to hear your questions or anything that you might bring to the table, and know that we don't always have the right answers, but we would love to have conversations and discussions about what's going on. And so back to Paul, he made it his mission and his whole life passion to tell anyone that he came in contact with the goodness of following Jesus and the benefit that truly came from following Jesus, and in hopes that they would be able to find the joy that he found in following Jesus. And so he would travel around the world to different groups and to different areas and tell people about this. And oftentimes he was talking to communities that he couldn't physically get to, so he would write letters to, and a lot of the Bible is actually written up of letters that Paul wrote to communities about Jesus and about following Jesus. And a thing about Paul is that he's pretty direct in a lot of the things that he spoke, and would often ruffle a couple feathers or make people a little bit upset about what he said maybe, but that is how he truly spoke truth into these people's lives and didn't sugarcoat it or add whatever frilliness to it, but he spoke truth with love. And so in these letters, we often see a reaction from the people of maybe bitterness, or maybe they get upset, or maybe they overreact, which I don't know if you're anything like these people, but often when people call out things that I'm doing wrong or things that I need to change, I might get a little defensive sometimes. So I kind of feel for the people that Paul is writing to. But we're going to see an example of what Paul responded to the critics. He says, "Oh, don't worry. We wouldn't dare say that we are as wonderful as these other men who tell you how important they are, but they are only comparing themselves with each other, using themselves as the standard of measurement. How ignorant." First of all, I feel like there is some sarcasm in that. He's addressing the comparison that is going on among people and the struggle that it created. And so Paul is saying in no uncertain term, it's absolutely ridiculous to let your behavior and life be based on comparison to someone else's behavior or life. That truly we cannot compare amongst one another, because we have been created with an identity that is specific to who God has created us for. So take the next couple minutes to pause and discuss the next questions. There's a principle found in the Bible of Proverbs that says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. This is so important when we're having this conversation about comparison. Solomon, the man who wrote this principle, was passionate about how important it was to guard our hearts and how important our hearts were in following everything else that we did. And why? Because what we do almost always comes from what we believe in our hearts. What we do almost always comes from what we believe in our hearts. Our hearts matter because they control everything else. So we should guard our hearts. The opposite, one of the quickest ways to destroy our hearts, is comparison. It makes us feel less than, worthlessness, and is an attack on the heart that can ultimately mess with our whole lives. So that's why we have to get this right. And that's why this whole message is about don't compare your worth with your perception of others. Because when it comes down to it, our worth can't be compared to what we think is going on in other people's lives. Because the truth is, we don't know everything that's going on. And don't make a decision about how you look or don't look based on someone else's picture. A picture that was most likely taken 30 times and filtered and edited, and Lord knows what the original actually looked like. Don't make decisions of your worth based on that. So, which sounds great, but how do we actually fight the temptation to compare our lives and what we're doing? It may not be easy, but it all starts with the word of the scripture that we looked at. To guard your heart. Guard your Instagram, guard your social media, guard who you spend your time with, guard who you're texting late at night. You have to guard your heart and what's going on in order to not experience comparison. So, in other words, when you find yourself in a situation, whether it's on social media or in real life, where you are more likely to compare yourself to others, be on guard. Be aware of it. Pay attention. Something is trying to get your heart, and you need to have a boundary there. Again, pause and discuss the next questions coming up, and then we'll get to the final part of this message. So much of this can be tough to notice what's actually going on. It means that we actually have to pay attention when we feel those nudges or we feel like we're comparing ourselves. And when it actually comes down to it, we have to pay attention and we have to ask ourselves these three things. What things are fueling how I feel? What are some things I want to do because of how I feel? What or who am I comparing myself to that's bringing up these feelings? We guard our hearts by paying attention to what we feel when we're tempted to play the comparison game. This may seem like a really big task, but that's why you guys are in these small groups tonight. You are placed in these groups of community that is intentional. It's intentional to have people around us. And I know I talk about it a lot, but it's truly why we were created, to be an intentional community with one another. And so I hope that you guys can take some time to finish off your small groups by either talking about prayer requests that are going on, or maybe sharing something that you didn't get to share earlier, and just having honest conversations with one another. I hope you guys enjoy your time together.